BookNet Canada acknowledges that its operations are remote and our colleagues contribute their work from the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit, Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Wendat, and Mi'kmaq peoples, the original nations of the lands we now call Beaton, Brampton, Guelph, Halifax, Toronto, and Vaughan. We endorse the calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada and support an ongoing shift from gatekeeping to space making in the book industry.
Welcome to Tech Forum Online. My name is Monique Mongeon. I'm going to be talking about what's new in sales data and library data. Sales data and library data are reporting tools that allow retailers, publishers, libraries, and other members of the book industry to access sales, circulation, and inventory data from retailers and libraries across Canada. For more information, you can find us at booknetcanada.ca. For those of you who are already familiar with sales data and library data and heavy users of our products, welcome back. We'll be going through an update on what we've added this last year and what we have coming in the future. So let's start with a year in review. When I'm recording this, we're not quite at the end of the 2023 fiscal year, but so far our users have run 242,852 reports on the Sales Data and Library Data platform. That's over 970 reports per business day so far this year. And on a weekly basis, users receive 1,220 scheduled reports. That saves users about 40 and a half hours each week. And that adds up to 2,037 hours each year, or about 58 weeks of full-time work saved for the industry. Or if you're looking to measure that time in a different unit of measure, that's enough time to watch every current episode of Taskmaster at least 21 times. So lots of time saved for the industry to do other really important things with their time. But where is all the data everybody's reporting on coming from? We picked up over 25 new reporting retailers this year from coast to coast, bringing our total up to 232. And those retailers have over 1,500 store locations. We've had some really great presenters over the last little while here at Tech Forum from retailers, so check out some links in the video description to find those. We have integrations built for 9 different point of sale systems, and our data processing supports many others. We currently support Book Manager, WordStock, Vigi 3000, Nebraska, Shopify, Square, Lightspeed, Raytex, and we are working with GiveX on a new POS reporting tool. If your store is not using one of these POS systems, don't worry, we are happy to discuss reporting options with you. Drop us a line at salesdata@booknetcanada.ca to get started. In addition to the platforms I spoke about, we are also looking for retailers using the WooCommerce POS to pilot an integration with us, particularly those who use the inventory management features in WooCommerce. If that's you, please reach out to us. We really want to hear from you. Our library data comes from 82 libraries with over 800 branches across the country. Here are some of them, and we are adding more as time goes on. We are really excited to have so many amazing libraries working with us. We have integrations built for 6 ILS systems with 2 more on the way. We currently integrate well with Evergreen, Horizon, Infor vSmart, Koha, Polaris, and Symphony. We have a new integration in beta with Sierra, and we are also working on reporting with Insignia. If your library doesn't use one of these ILSs, you can reach out to us anyway. We'd really look forward to working with you and your ILS to get your data on board. If you use Sierra version 5.5, our integration is ready to test. So if you have been waiting to participate in library data for this Sierra upgrade, please get in touch with us at librarydata@booknetcanada.ca, and we'll get you all set to start. Libraries contributing to library data also have their stats counted toward Lone Stars, which are lists of the most ordered titles in Canadian libraries. For more information, please check out my colleague Jackie's presentation on Lone Stars, which is linked in the description. The Lone Stars lists are really interesting, and it is a great place to find out what library staff from coast to coast are most interested in. Some interesting trends we've seen in the sales data over the last year. Across adult, young adult, and juvenile subjects, comics and graphic novels are up 22% in 2022 over 2021. It's important to remember this is growth upon growth. In 2021, comics and graphic novels were up 35% over 2020. So when we compare 2022 to 2020, comics and graphic novels are up 66%. Really exciting growth in a really fun and fascinating category. It's really hard to talk about 2022 without also talking about romance. Across adult, YA, and juvenile subjects, romance was up 51% in 2022 over 2021. Really exciting time for romance. And within romance, there's some really interesting category growth in new adult romance, which is up 120% in 2022 over 2021. And like we saw with comics and graphic novels, this is growth upon growth. 2021, new adult romance was up 119% over 2020. So really interesting growth in a very sort of niche section of the romance genre. In a subject trend that's maybe a little bit more from left field, here we're looking at unit sales of books on mushrooms. They had incredibly huge growth between 2020 and 2021, over 107%, and continued growth on a smaller scale in 2022. We're looking forward to see how mushrooms can play a role in trends moving forward. If you want to learn more about mushrooms and lots of other interesting trends across the book space and others, check out our recent trend spotting session right here on our YouTube channel, where we discussed all the growing trends in book sales and what might be coming for the rest of 2023. As a hint, we're thinking about mess, mushrooms, and goblins, so you don't want to miss it. Let's talk about what was new for sales data and library data as features in 2022. The first were title-level Canadian contributor filters. These filters allow you to filter all of the title-level reports in both sales data and library data by Canadian contributors, so you can better identify our local and national authors, illustrators, editors, and more. We also made some upgrades to the library trend analysis report, which allowed for additional time frames options in the reporting period. So you can select now from the snapshot and year-over-year options in this report. Super helpful for those longer range trend studies. We also made some changes in the library trend analysis report to allow Canadian contributor filters. So not only can you look at the performance of a subject or language over time, but you can also filter that down to only Canadian contributor titles, which is really helpful if you're looking for that level of trend analysis at your library. And we have a lot of really exciting things coming next that are getting extremely close to release to the main site. First, we are adding Canadian contributor filters to the market share and market comp reports, which are reports looking at market level performance. This is going to be especially helpful for retailers working on their applications to DCH bookselling programs and other programs coast to coast. And it also allows us to track the sales of Canadian contributed titles much more easily. Really exciting report. We're excited to have you try this one. We're also adding additional filters to the market share and market comp reports. This will allow you to compare things over time with additional filters. Previously, you could look at, for example, a publisher over time, but you couldn't filter that by a specific subject or format. You will now be able to do that, and we are adding filters to all of the permutations of the market share and market comp reports. This will be so exciting. I can't wait for you to try it. We're also working on adding ISBN counts to the market share and market comp reports. The questions we get asked the most, especially when we're talking about subject trends, like I talked about earlier in this presentation, is whether sales growth is due to growing numbers of ISBNs being published in a certain category, or if a single title has exploded in popularity and is sort of uplifting an entire genre. Adding ISBN count data to these reports will help add this context to your subject and format level reporting, as well as your publisher level reporting. Really exciting stuff coming with ISBN counts. Looking farther out into our roadmap, we're also looking forward to adding age range data and filtering to our reports. That's something that's especially of interest to those who publish a lot in the children's subject areas. So we're excited to work on that and offer that. Of course, this is not exhaustive. We always have lots of interesting ideas in the can, and most of those ideas for how we can improve sales data and library data come from you, our users. So please do let us know what would make your life easier and what sort of data you really wish you had your hands on, and we will do our best to help you. Like all BookNet products, our future development is driven by stakeholder feedback, so please get in touch. We would love to hear from you and how we can make your work in 2023 and beyond easier and more data-driven. If you have feedback or questions, please email us, data@booknetcanada.ca. You can find us on the internet at booknetcanada.ca, on Facebook, Twitter, all the places. We really would love to hear from you and hear your ideas for how we can continue improving these tools for the future. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.